No one believed Daniel Harper when he first reported the light in the ocean. Daniel was just a fisherman working the cold waters near Alaska, and strange things in the sky were nothing new out there. But that night was different. The sea was calm, the stars were bright, and the only sound was the slow engine of a small boat cutting through the dark water. Then suddenly the ocean around him began to glow. At first he thought it was some kind of algae or reflection from the moon, but the glow kept growing brighter. The water beneath his boat turned a deep blue color, like lightning trapped under the surface. Daniel leaned over the edge of the boat and looked down into the water. Something enormous was moving below him. The shape was impossible to understand. It was too large to be a submarine and too smooth to be any kind of ship. Slowly, silently, the massive object rose closer to the surface. Daniel's heart started pounding as the glow became blinding. His radio suddenly filled with static, and the GPS screen on his dashboard went completely black. Then the ocean exploded upward. A huge metallic structure burst out of the water about 100 meters away from his boat. Waves slammed against the hull as Daniel struggled to keep balance. The object hovered just above the sea, dripping water from its smooth black surface. It had no wings, no engines, and no visible weapons. The craft was perfectly silent. Daniel grabbed his phone and started recording. As he watched, strange lines of light began moving across the surface of the craft. They looked like symbols, glowing white and blue, sliding across the metal like living code. Suddenly, every electronic device on his boat turned on at the same time. The radio crackled loudly, but instead of voices, there was a low humming sound. Then a message appeared on his navigation screen. It was only 4 words. "You were not meant to see." Daniel froze. His hands were shaking as he stared at the screen. Before he could react, the alien craft slowly rotated in the air, as if it was looking directly at him. For a moment, the glowing symbols stopped moving, and then the entire craft lit up. A beam of pale blue light scanned across the ocean and passed directly over Daniel's boat. His phone camera instantly shut down, and every system on his vessel died. The engine stopped. The lights went out. Even the compass needles stopped moving. For 10 long seconds, everything was completely silent. Then the craft shot straight into the sky. It moved faster than anything Daniel had ever seen, disappearing into clouds in less than 2 seconds. The ocean slowly became dark again, and his boat drifted quietly in the empty water. A few minutes later, his electronics suddenly came back online. Daniel rushed to check the video he had recorded, but the file was gone. Every trace of the encounter had disappeared, except for one thing. The message was still on his navigation screen. "You were not meant to see." 3 hours later, a military helicopter arrived above his boat. Men in dark uniforms questioned him for hours and took his phone, his navigation system, and even the radio from his boat. They told him the glowing water was a natural phenomenon and that he must have imagined the rest. But Daniel knew what he saw, and sometimes, late at night while fishing the same waters, he still notices something strange. Deep below the surface of the ocean, something is moving,